Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
So let's have a conversation about the 3 words that you are afraid to say, the 3 words that a lot of people are afraid to say, the 3 words that I've been afraid to say over the last couple months. And we're going to walk and talk here. It's a beautiful summer day here in July in Victoria, BC. I'm walking down to the beach. Probably hearing lots of kids in the background. All good, playing. Summer, right? Let me walk down to the ocean, down the water. It's where I think best. And moving is how I think best. So let's have this conversation. So, 3 words. What are those 3 words? 3 words are this that so many are afraid to say or even to think, which is, I don't know. I don't know. And so why are we so afraid to say these things? We think we have to know all the answers. We think that if we don't know something, that somehow it says something negatively about ourselves, that we're going to appear like stupid or uneducated or uninformed, or what's the story that's wrapped around that for you? Holy moly, it's actually super loud. Okay, let me... The kids are having fun here, that is for sure. Let me walk a little bit down from the beach where it's not so loud. It's so funny. So my peaceful beach across the street from our house, some summer days it's like rocking here, but yet in the morning it's peaceful. Sometimes I don't see anybody except maybe a deer or rabbits. So let's do this. I'm actually going to walk down to the water away from a lot of the kids. It's kind of really concentrated by the park, so let's move here for a second. And hopefully it's not going to be too windy and volume will still be okay, but if it isn't, this is your opportunity to listen intently and to still hear the message. So I don't know. So yeah, why do we have these stories, you know? I think I don't know for me comes up right now because I have a lack of knowing what is unfolding for me right now. And so I take a look at 2 years ago. So now we get to go from the sounds of kids playing to the sounds of the wave lapping against the shore. Can you hear that? Hope you can. Very peaceful sound. So 2 years ago, we had moved, almost 2 years ago to the day, we had moved here to Victoria, BC from Alberta. And we had closed the doors of our chiropractic practice about 2 months prior, end of May. Decided that we wanted to really go all in with our online businesses, my husband's separate ones, our podcasts, and wanted to kind of create a whole new chapter in our lives, which is why we moved out here to Victoria. And it was a big, big leap, and we didn't really know barely anybody out here. And so, you know, finding my new space, like actual physical space, and then finding my space in this new world, and the extra time was opening up for me to be with my children and like beautiful stuff, right? And to me it felt like this, like it was a big fucking jump, believe me, to walk away from a career, my practice, something that I never saw as ever being not part of my life, and the courage that it took to really to do that, to moving away from everything that we knew in Alberta and support there, to kind of jumping into the unknown, to literally just following our gut and the voice inside. So it was big. So it felt like when we did this, I'm like, okay, not that we were settled and there wasn't still growth happening, because there definitely still was. But yet there was some certainty where I'm like, oh, I love coaching women. I love this experience. I love these live events. And then earlier this year, things it was different for me. It felt very strained. It felt pushed. I was tired. I felt I was preaching the message, and a lot of you are nodding your heads and you're doing nothing with it. And that wasn't why I was doing what I was doing. I was doing what I was doing, still doing what I'm doing. I'm still doing this podcast because I want you to have a shift within your life, sister. I want you to have results. I'm glad, and I understand too. A lot of you will listen to the podcast, and there'll be no further, there will be no steps you'll take. You'll literally go this podcast rocks. I love it. You won't make any changes in your life. That's okay. Clearly that's okay. That is your choice. That is your life. It's not up to me. But what I was witnessing was that the majority was doing that. I'm like, something's broken here with this message. Because if it doesn't compel you to move, to invest in yourself in some way, to make shift and change, then I'm not really leading. I'm just a voice that you're hearing on this podcast, or a talking head you're seeing on a video. See, a true leader really compels and moves people, motivates, inspires people to do something. And so when that wasn't happening after this long, and when I started trying to figure out this message, good God, now there's a street sweeper. I think I realized why I love to podcast in my car so much now, because it's quiet in there. All right. So yeah, from when I started to really explore this message and what is this 6.5 years ago, I was just feeling God, I know so many people in the online space that, literally have started up something, and within a year, not only are they creating such an impact in their niche and their space and results for people, incredible amounts of wealth that are coming into their life. And this isn't there's a lot of great people that I know that have created things very quickly, literally gone from being homeless, actually homeless, to, helping so many people and having so much financial abundance and so much time freedom and just massive shift. And I'm not saying that, this is the way it is for everybody, but it is absolutely possible in the world that we live in now. And so I was frustrated. I would find myself starting to look at those people that I know, and as opposed to in the past, I'd be like the cheerleader of oh my God, that's awesome, that's so amazing, good for you, to kind of being well, fuck you, and why not me, and how come they get to be there and I'm not there? And it was a funky space to be in. And I'm just head down and continue doing this and continue putting the message out, continue figuring it out, and I'll find a way, because I've never been someone to shy away from a challenge. And I know a lot of great things in my life have come about from challenges. So I'm I will get there. I will figure this out. I will find a way to reach more women, motivate them to make changes in their life. And then about 3 months ago, I was just 3 months ago maybe, I was you know what? I'm fucking done. I literally was just I'm just leaving this. I'm out. And I said to my husband the day, because what I really decided with his help and others in my life, which was just man, I need a fucking break. I need to step away from this right now. I just need some space to get some clarity and to really pursue this calling that I feel too towards God, spirit, source, universe, whatever you want to call it. And so I've been doing that the last couple of months, still doing this podcast, still maintaining a group coaching program I have called the Sisterhood, and honoring that commitment and creating space. And so the question of I don't know, or not the question, but the thought of I don't know comes up a lot. And I know when my husband and I last night at dinner, we had a date night, and I was saying I'm feeling, at first was this feeling of peace and reading stuff and really am opening up to God, source, spirit. I remember saying to her at the beginning of God, I feel so much peace. I feel this opening and this lifting, and it's it's good, right? It's good. And then I think in the back of my mind, I kind of had this an expectation or a timeline. And so here we are now. This is about 2 months later now. And I'm but I don't feel like I have any closer clarity. I'm learning a lot. I'm open to possibility. I'm, definitely feeling broken apart in many different ways, but in good ways. But I don't feel I'm any closer to the when do I return back to fully to business, and what is it going to look like? And this book I'm kind of like writing, I'm not writing, I'm just like on and off with stuff. I'm like, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm any closer to figuring this out. I don't know. And it's frustrating. And it's really, really fucking hard. And so those 3 words that you often don't want to say, don't want to think, like, I hear you, sister. I feel you. I'm right there with you. I don't know. But you know what? It's much better to be in a place of truth, of I don't know, than to act as if you do. Right? To put on that facade, that bravado, that like, oh, I got this. Let me post up a cool meme on Facebook. I know we're all doing our best when we do those things. This is not meant as a judgment. And if that's you, awesome. Like, we're all different places, different paths. Like, I don't really have a judgment towards that stuff anymore. But I do know that it's the beginning step. And there's so many more to get to actual truth. And the actual truth can be at times of I don't know. So here's your more tip for today then. Where is it within your life that you don't really know, but yet you're wanting to act like you do? And so what is one thing that you can do? What is one step? What is something you can do? Maybe that something is like journaling. Maybe it's having a conversation with your husband or partner. Maybe it's having a conversation with a really good friend of just like, listen, this is where I am, and like, I don't really know. And here's what I'm feeling. Maybe you have a therapist. You want to talk to them about it. I don't know what that is for you. So those words again, I don't know for you. But you will know what that is for you. So it's important just simply to start that process. And again, to be really, really honest about it. I don't know. Here's something I do know. The sand is fucking hot right now. Holy shit. I'm just walking over to where I ditched my flip-flops. I'm like, and I left them flip-flop side up. Those mofos are hot. Okay. Back to wet sand. It's a little bit cooled off. So one action step, whatever that is for you, sister, to just get really honest about it. Because, I think the first step in all this stuff is just simply to tell the truth. It's tell the truth. It's exhausting, the energy that's expended when you're showing up in a way that you're truly not, right? When you're putting on some kind of like a mask, like a way of how you're presenting yourself to the world when it's not the absolute truth. It's not actually the absolute truth. It's just not the truth. There's truth and not truth. There's no in between. It's just not the truth. And so free yourself by starting to get really honest and take that first step, whatever that means for you, of just being okay, giving yourself permission to not know right now. To not know and to be in that space. It's like I just posted actually something up in Sisterhood. I do daily Sisterhood tips, and they're written tips within the Facebook group. And just talking about like create some gap, right? Create a gap, a pause in between when something happens to you and someone says something to you or have an experience and when you actually react. We live in an age in society now where it's like, what's the average attention span? Something like 6 seconds now? Like, it's a little sad, right? How like we can't even pay attention for more than 6 seconds. Like, holy shit. Because we're used to that instantaneous, right? Let me Google something. Boom, there's my answer. Let me push this. Hey, Siri, find this for me. So we don't often live in the space of not knowing and think that there's something wrong with it if we do reside there. So what is that first step that you can take for you and just being honest about what it is that you don't know about in your life right now? So start there, sister. Start there. So if you don't subscribe to the Women Wanting More newsletter and tribe, I want you to make sure to do that right now. I'm going to send you some amazing trainings as my gift to you. And to sign up for the newsletter is free. So head over right now to drkarenosborn.com/action guide, and I'll get you hooked up on that today. So I'll talk to you on the next episode, sister. A life of more is just one step away from you doing the fucking work and telling the truth every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosborn.com/newsletter.